Grammar rules, rule 21. Now we will see that where we have to use elder and where we have to use older. Okay, let me tell you one thing first, that elder and older both are what? They are both comparing the ages of two or more person. Okay, but there is certain rule that where you have to use older and where you have to use elder. Let's see the rule now. Older you have to use for all the persons as well as things. Okay, whenever you are comparing the ages of a person or things, you have to use older. Okay, and always remember that older is always followed by than. Okay, let's see an example. Ram is elder than all other boys of this area. Right, why this is incorrect? Because than is there. What I said, than is followed by older, so here it should be older. Ram is older than all other boys of this area. Okay, now older is referring to person as a thing. Then where we will use elder? Elder we will use when we will refer to the members of the family. When we are comparing the ages of the member of the family, we will use elder. Let's see an example. Suresh is my older brother. See, we are referring to brother. Here some relation comes. That means we cannot use older here. We have to use what? Elder. Because elder we always have to use with the members of the family. So correct is Suresh is my elder brother. Next rule. Now we will see how we will use to instead of than. Okay. Now let me tell you one thing first, that than is used always when we are comparing the things. Okay. When we are comparing something, where we will always use than. But there is an exception to it, that for example the words like superior, inferior, senior, junior, prior, anterior, posterior. See, these types of words come. Reading also, these types of words come, then we will use to instead of than. Okay, for example this statement, Shelley is junior than Wordsworth. See, here we are comparing the thing, that means than is right, but we are using this word junior, right? And what I said, when the words from this list comes, then we will use that to instead of than. So correct is Shelley is junior to Wordsworth. Okay, I prefer reading than sleeping. Okay, reading is also in this list only. I have not written it, but this is in this list only. I prefer reading to sleeping is the correct. Okay, just remember this example because this is very important in terms of spotting error questions, because usually this type of error comes in your exam, reading type. I prefer reading to sleeping, because if you don't know this rule, then you will think that this line is completely correct. But this is the rule, that when we are using reading, then we have to use to instead of than. Next rule. We will see how we will use other with than. Okay, what I said, that than is used for the comparison thing, but sometimes you have to use other also with than when this situation comes when you have to tell that, when you have to uniquely identify the person you are comparing with a certain group. Okay, see this example, he is stronger than any man. Okay, now this any man is include, when we are saying he is stronger than any man, this any man. Now what is the meaning of this statement? The meaning of this statement is that we want to tell that the person he is stronger than all the men in the group, right? But this statement is not justifying our meaning. Why? Because any man includes he also. Okay, but what we want to say, that he is standing uniquely out of the group. So to justify our meaning, we have to use he is stronger than any other man. Okay, just to say that he is not included in this group because he is stronger than any other man of this group. Okay, next statement, next rule now. Okay, now when we are comparing the things, right, sometimes we compare a particular quality or a particular thing of a person, right? For example, sometimes we are comparing a particular quality, that he is good in writing, right? So we are comparing his writing skill. So whenever we are comparing a particular thing of a person or of a thing also, then you have to just see this thing. So see this example, the climate of Ranchi is better than Gaya. Okay, now see this, we are comparing the climate of Ranchi, right? But What we are saying, the climate of Ranchi is better than Gaya. We are comparing the climate of Ranchi with only Gaya. We are not saying that it is better than the climate of Gaya. Okay, so this statement is wrong because we have to compare what? We have to compare the climate of Ranchi with the climate of Gaya. So statement should be the climate of Ranchi is better than the climate of Gaya, or you can even say that the climate of Ranchi is better than that of Gaya. That of also will signify the same thing, climate of. Okay, so either of this statement will be correct. The climate of Ranchi is better than the climate of Gaya, or the climate of Ranchi is better than that of Gaya. So just remember this thing, that whenever you are comparing a particular quality or a particular thing, then you have to mention it with the both things you are comparing. Okay, but if the quality you are comparing, traits you are comparing is in plural form, then you have to use then that instead of that of, you have to use what? Those of. See, the clothes of DCM are better than that of Mafetal. So clothes here, this is plural, that is why we have used those of instead of that of. Okay, so this is the very important rule, because this rule all mostly this rule comes in spotting error. Now let's see the next rule, many-a. Okay, just remember this thing, that many-a is always followed by the singular verb. Okay, you will see that many is the plural thing, right? But it is always followed by a singular verb. So you have to remember this thing. Many a men were drowned in the sea. This is incorrect, because this is the plural verb, and what I said, with many a you have to use always singular verb. So correct is many a man was drowned in the sea. Next rule, with the number of, the number of, and a number of, what you have to use? Okay, if the number of is there, then you have to use the singular verb, and if a number of is there, then you have to use the plural verb. So the tip to remember is that when a is there, okay, it is singular, so just go to the what? Go to the opposite of it. A is singular, so just go to the opposite. A number of, you have to use plural with it. Okay, and with the number of, you have to use a singular verb. The number of students are very small. The is number of here, that means you have to use singular. So the number of student is very small. And what I said, if a number of comes, you have to use the plural verb. A number of books is missing. So with a number of, you have to use what? Plural. So here are should be there. Next rule. Okay, whenever the words like as well as, along with, together with, no less than, in addition to, not, with, when these words come and they are joining the two subjects, then the verb, look, this is a very confusing one, that most of friends ask me that what should be the verb when we are comparing these things, as well as, along with. When we are not comparing, we are just joining the two subjects, then what should be the verb? So whenever you are joining the two subjects using these words, as well as, along with, together with, no less than, in addition to, not, with, then the verb will always be according to the first subject. Verb will always be according to the first subject. Okay, see, Ram as well as his 10 friends. Okay, see, we are joining to Ram as well as 10 friends. We are joining two subjects with as well as. Okay, what I said, the verb will be according to the first subject. First subject is what? Ram. So verb should be what? Ram is singular, so verb should be singular. So Ram as well as his 10 friends are going. This is incorrect. Ram as well as his 10 friends is going. Let's see another example. The teacher along with the students were going. First subject is what? The teacher, which is singular. So singular verb should be used. The teacher along with the student was going. Okay, so always remember this rule. Now we will see which singular verb should be used with which verb should be used with a great many. With a great many, you have to use plural noun as well as plural verb. See, you have to follow it with plural noun as well as plural verb. Okay, with many a, what we use? With many a, we use singular. With a great many, you have to use plural. Okay, for example, this statement, a great many student has been declared successful. So What should be the verb here? Should be plural. A great many students. Noun should also be what? Plural. So a great many students, and verb should be also plural. A great many students have been declared successful. Okay. Next rule now. If the two subjects are joined by either or neither or, then what should be the verb? Verb should be with this, it should agree with the subject which is near one. That is, with the second subject you have to agree. Okay. Either Ramesh or I are to do this work. See, I is what? I is singular. So either Ramesh or I am. Always we use what? With I we always use what? Am. So I am to do this work. Okay. What I said, that verb always agree with the subject that is near. And near should be what? Near will be what? Second subject only, obviously. So either Ramesh or I. Second subject is I. So we have to use verb according to I. And with I we say what? I am Kanika. So I am always comes with I. So I am to do this work is the correct statement. Neither he nor his friends is reading. See, second subject is his. So verb should be what? His friends, we are saying. The plural. So verb should be plural here. Neither he nor his friends are reading. Okay. So just remember, when we are joining the two subjects with either or neither or. Okay. Before what we saw that when we are joining the two subjects with, along with, as well as. Okay. We were focusing on the first subject. But in this rule, when we are joining the two subjects with either or neither or. Okay, so just tip to remember is this, that here we are choosing one, either or, right? We are choosing one, neither nor, we are choosing one, right? So when we are choosing one, you have to just agree with the second subject. And with in the previous rule, along with, as well as, we are not choosing one, we are just taking both, as well as we are taking both, right? So when we are taking both, just remember that verb will be according to the first subject. So this is the trick to remember. Next rule. When two singular nouns are joined by and, just remember this thing. When two singular nouns are joined by and, but they are pointing to the same thing. For example, what I said that bread and butter. Okay. We always take bread and butter together, right? When we are referring to bread, we always say bread and butter, right? Whenever you ask your mummy and please give me bread and butter, right? We always take these things together. So when we are pointing at the same thing, but we are joining two things, okay, the verb will be singular only and not plural. Bread and butter. See, the example here itself, bread and butter make a good breakfast. So here the verb should be singular. So bread and butter makes a good breakfast. See, we are referring to the breakfast. Okay. We are referring to some same thing. Breakfast. Okay. Whether they are, maybe they are both things, but we are referring to a certain one thing. That is why we will use singular verb. For example, this, the collector and the district magistrate are on leave. Okay, here we are referring that the persons are on leave, right? We are referring to some one thing, that they are on leave. Okay, so it should be singular. The collector and district magistrate is on leave because we are referring to the same thing. Okay, now in the next video we will see 10 more rules of the grammar rules, and we have already mailed you the PDF of grammar rules. So if any of you have not got the PDF of the 100 grammar rules, so please comment below and give me your email ID so that I can mail you also. Okay, thank you.